And we're back once again, only on Last Call. Last Call at the Alcohol, only on the Last Call Podcast.com. And joining me here on location, well, once again, after last night's UFC card, which sometimes the less said about the better. We'll get to that. And well, he's ready. He's firing on all cylinders. He will be dropping more F-bombs of a Lanterns trailer, and well, he promises to leave no stone unturned. He's not a happy, and that's what I love about him here. I give you once again from Eurosport, UFC, MMA odds breaker, and one of the best MMA insiders in the business. I give you it's Marcel Dorff. So Marcel, start off here with. So this is one of the few times we got an exchange between Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. Other than that, it was 5 rounds of grappling. Look, kudos to Charles Oliveira. He got the win. Is it safe to say that we can take the BMF title and just throw it in the trash if this is the kind of performance we're gonna get? Because nobody was happy with this fight. Like nobody was happy with how this fight tturned out.
Yeah, you know what it is, man, Chris. I'm never really a fan of the BMF title, you know that, because it's kind of like it's kind of like just like a promotional kind of thing, you know, to have something that hype up a fight a little bit because you don't have a title fight on the card, pretty much, you know. Um, and the thing is, like, people are like, this is not a BMF type of fight. Yeah, that's true, you know, but then you should have maybe think to maybe say like, okay, we do the BMF title, but we do also a different rule set, you know, like no more than 30 seconds grappling on the ground if there is no choke or no thing going on, you know, and then a stand up again. You know what I mean? Like if you want to keep it at that, because now Charles did fully in his right what he has to do, you know, and was I a fan of it to watch it? No, I thought it was fucking boring. But at the same time, it's very impressive that he can do that against a world class guy like Holloway. Keep him down there and barely give him any chance. The thing is, like, I was pretty convinced that Holloway was going to win, but that was because I thought that Charles would strike a little bit more with him, you know. But Charles just had a pretty much a perfect game plan to win against Holloway. Was taking him down and trying to get submissions, trying to land some punches, but it was just not appealing to watch. But and I don't take, I mean, I don't take him anything bad to Charles. You know, for Charles was like, if I lose this fight, I probably will never fight for a UFC title anymore. You know,
Like
and
that was his goal. He wants to fight Ilya Taporia again.
yeah,
And
obviously. So and he had to win this fight. You know, so yeah.
so does he get the winner of this? I mean, considering how
Uh,
Armin, Sarukian is sort of in a timeout because Dana can't stand him, and considering that, Paddy Pimblett lost, I mean, all of a sudden, does Charles Oliveira versus the winner of Taporia Gaethje make a little more sense, or is he still another like 2 more wins away?
so I mean, here's the thing. You know, oh, shout out Sean Strickland. Here's the thing, you guys. No, here's the thing. Um, Armin is not getting a title shot next. You know, it's pretty clear what Dana said. You know, so I don't think Charles should get a title shot if it's to Ilya. If Ilya's next, you know, because he still recently lost to Ilya. It's less than a year ago. You know, so I think what would make sense is to rebook Charles against Armin, the rematch, 5 rounder, main event, for fight night. Do the fucking Brazil. I don't give a shit where you do it. You know, and the winner of that fight gets a guaranteed title shot. I think that makes sense, you know, because listen, for me, Armin should get a title shot, but we know Armin is not going to get the title shot. So let Armin fight Charles. The winner of that fight fights the winner of Ilya against Gaethje later this year. So yeah, you have to pretty much, how do you say that? Book Armin versus Charles quickly, man. Fucking book it for International Fight Week, you know, in July, second week of July. Book it for there and make it a 5 rounder. Not a co-main event, but the fight before the co-main event. Make it a 5 rounder, you know, winner fights for a title in late 2026. Makes a lot of sense, I think.
So what do we do with the BMF title? Because that thing, you could tell Charles like, yeah, I really don't care about this title. Can we just throw him a trash? Like treat it like the WWE's King of a Ring, where it's a ceremonial thing. They can pose for it once, and that's it. Like, nobody wants this title. It's sort of like the jobber title. Like, yes, we're not good at to winning our in the 145-pound title. So hey, we're getting a consolation prize.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. I feel the same way. And the thing is, like, you can never mix the BMF title with the actual title because the BMF title is kind of a gimmick title. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why, listen, if Charles fights next for the title, he cannot put his BMF title on the line, for example. And the thing is, like, the champion cannot have the BMF title because if the champion has the BMF title, it doesn't make sense for the champion to defend the BMF title while he be a champion and he can defend his belt. You know what I mean? So the UFC has to keep that thing separate. And yeah, I think they should just listen. There will be a lot of people who are backing me with this after yesterday, but just quit the BMF title, man. I mean, you can still make fun fights without a title being on the line. Plus, I think the BMF, the gimmick is a little bit gone in my opinion. But I said it before. But yeah, that's just my opinion, man.
All right, so during the press conference,
Mhm.
Dana, of course, said that yeah, we're in talks with Connor. So I'm going to throw this out there: Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway 2. Max deserves a big money fight for everything he's done for the UFC. There's nobody else of a division that you can look and go, well, you want to put Max up against this guy because you don't want to just start having Max run through all the contenders. So, is that something that's feasible, or do you have a better idea for Max Holloway next?
No, not really, man. Max is in a place right now where it's really difficult to see where he has to go. I think Adam told me like maybe he goes back to 145, but man, that would be also a difficult task. The thing is like maybe if Volkanovski retires, that might be an option. But right now not. It just sucks for Max, because like I'm gonna be honest with you, I was convinced that Max would beat Charles Oliveira. I think I said it last week that I was convinced that he was going to beat him. And well, he did not. So good win for Oliveira, but yeah, for Max is in the place now. It's really hard to say what is next for him.
Like, this isn't one of those things where it's like, oh, he should retire because he shouldn't. He's still
No,
good
no.
enough. It's just, do you want to rush him in there with Benoit Saint Denis? I mean, it feels sort of kind of, and he hate to say beneath him, but it's just not a big one for him. Like, he is a guy who wants big fights. So, and I don't think they
Uh,
want Max Holloway versus Paddy Pimblett in there because that's just sort of. I know you're going like, yes, Dana, make Paddy versus Max. Dana's probably going, no, I'm keeping you away from him. No,
well,
do not have
listen.
Paddy against Max.
If that happens, whatever hype Paddy has, it will be completely gone. So that's not going to happen. So, um, yeah, it's difficult. I think Holloway really has to think about it, what he wants to do next. Do you want to keep going at 155, or do you maybe consider going back to 45? But hey, man, we'll see. It's difficult. We will see, but it's just a really. It's not a bad loss, but it's just a bad loss as you look at it from a perspective of Max from being fighting for a title again. You know what I mean? That's why it's a bad loss. Yeah,
This hurt your soul. I could tell. This was just you were. This is
it
what got you in
didn't.
bad moods. I was worried about bringing you on because I'm like, oh crap.
No, 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 no. It's
You're
good.
like you're ready to like divorce Rainier the Black Knight. Oh, he's no longer Dutch. I have no idea what the hell he is, but he has to represent the Dutch. I'm kidding here, sort of. Caio Borralho defeats Reinier de Ridder by
Yeah.
unanimous decision, 30-27. Rainier got outstruck, wasn't able to take down Borralho. This was an ass whooping. What happened here? And let's start here. Is Caio Borralho all of a sudden now back in the middleweight title picture?
To be really fair, I don't think it was a great fight, but I think Borralho clearly won, in my opinion. By the way, I also picked him to win, so I'm just honest, like I said, tell you always. Um, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, Rainier tried to get the fight to the ground, and Borralho grabbed the cage like 2 or 3 times, but that's not up. That's up to the referee, you know what I mean? And Herb Dean was a great referee, but he's kind of been a fossil the last couple of years. So um, I mean, it is what it is for Reinier. Caio was stand up, was better. Reinier was looking for the takedown for a lot of times and actually got the taken down in the third round. But it was overall not an amazing fight, but Caio did more, in my opinion. I had 1 and 3 for Caio. Second round was pretty close, I felt. But 29, 28, 30, 27, Caio wasn't a bad scorecard, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, um, yeah, Reinier just didn't look great. And the thing that with Reinier, listen, I'm Dutch, but I'm dead honest, and I don't know if you saw did you see his clip with Full Send MMA before the fight?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
That was a bit worrying.
Yeah, I didn't like that, man. The way he was talking about Brendan Allen. I know he doesn't like the guy, but he was completely like pretty much talking crap about the performance of Brandon. He's like, yeah, he's not a great fighter. He's not even close to what Caio Borralho is. And I beat him 9 out of 10 times. It was just a bad day I had. I was like, dude, listen, you might not like Brandon, but listen. First of all, you came into his gym, because he was first at Hillcliff. You had two guys in the corner who were normally in Brandon's corner. Brandon Allen saved the fucking fight in Vancouver because Hernandez pulled out and you were without an opponent. Brandon Allen came from his couch 3 weeks before the fight, took the fight, and he beat you while you were in camp. And I know he fought 5 times last year. I know he fought a lot of times. But I was like, dude, they're just acting disrespectful now. And it's not necessary, Be a little bit more. I mean, a little bit more humble, maybe, if you lose the way you did against Allen, And also, Brandon Allen replied under it, and I agree with Allen there. Like, dude, what the hell, Don't have to be friends, but you can still be respectful. Um, yeah, I don't know what that was, And that already gave me kind of a feeling like the, he really thinks, and I don't know if that's true, But in my opinion, he really thinks in his mind that he only lost that last fight against Allen because he was overtrained and his cardio wasn't good. But I don't know if that's the truth, man. To be honest, because he felt amazing now. He said, and to be really honest, he didn't look that much better, against Borralho. He looked a little bit better. I give him that for sure, but it wasn't good or anything, So, and listen, I know already if people from the Netherlands hear me talk here, they're going to say, oh, you're crapping on the Ridder, or why you do that to your countryman. And just being honest, guys, listen, if he had a great performance and he did well, I would have given full credit. But I think you always have to be, when you're in MMA media, you always have to be critical about performances, also if it's from your home country fighter, And I think Borralho clearly won the fight, and good for him. He needed to win after the loss against Imavov. And for Reinier, yeah, Reinier probably gets somebody still in the top 15, but not above him. And yeah, we'll see who he fights next. It's interesting, but yeah, for now, his title aspirations can be buried for this year and also probably for next year. But we'll see where he's going to end.
All right, so Caio Borralho, who do you match him up with next?
That's actually pretty easy.
All
We're
right,
talking. Yeah, I talked about this with Adam. It's pretty easy, actually. Caio has fought Imavov, so he doesn't have to fight Imavov. I think you do Strickland probably against Chimaev. You do Brandon Allen versus Caio, and you do Dricus against Imavov, or Dricus, yeah, Dricus against Imavov, yeah.
all right. So, what do you do with Reinier? I mean, all of a sudden now, I mean, do you put him in with Joe Pyfer? Do you put him in with Bruno Ferreira? Like, who do you match up Reinier with? Where, as you said, he's becoming un-Dutch-like. You should be humble. No, no, no. He's talking a lot of trash and losing. He's talking trash. So, all
It's
right.
actually
Now, what
it's
do you
pretty
do to
simple.
fix the Black Knight?
It's pretty simple. The Dutch night. It's pretty simple. I mean, we got Pfeiffer against Adesanya, like you said, in Seattle this month, right? Uh, if Pfeiffer wins, he can fight Pfeiffer. He can fight Pfeiffer. And if Adesanya wins, he can fight Adesanya. And also, if Adesanya loses, that's a fight I'd still want to see Adesanya against the Ridder, So I actually like the Adesanya fight, win or lose. I think why not? Win or lose, Adesanya. Let's go. Let's make that fight happen.
Speaking of fights, This is anything but a fight. This is almost a
Okay.
wrestling match here. Look, Rojas Jr. is going to be a force in in MMA.
Mm.
He is a talented guy. He is incredibly young. He's pretty, humble considering, but god damn it, this fight sucked, Marcel. If you thought the main event sucked, this fight was kind of also sucky. That's a big question. Every striker tells me here, how do you win a match when all you do is take the guy down, hold him down, and don't deliver any sort of damage? Because that's sort of what Rojas did, and well, that ain't good. I mean, usually you don't, it gets tougher to take people down, and if you can't deliver damage, what the hell are you doing except, laying and praying?
Yeah, we'll see. It definitely will get tougher for him, you know. But the thing is, like, listen, this was his path to win against Rob Font, man. We've seen Rob Font before. He's a pretty good fighter, you know. He's a veteran, but at the same time, Rob Font struggles against grapplers, you know. So this was the path for Rosas to win this fight, and which he did, you know. Was it fun to watch? Absolutely not. Was I bored? Absolutely. But did he win? Absolutely. You know. So. Um, yeah, I mean, listen. Obviously, we like to see also a little bit of striking. I think he only had eight significant strikes. It's just really not much in the 3 round fight, obviously. But yeah, it wasn't fun to watch. But pretty much this whole card kind of sucked, you know. So um, yeah, what can you say? It's still a big win for him. It gets him in the rankings. So, but I'm really looking forward who they're going to match him up with next. You know, because the fights aren't getting easier probably. You know.
Like we're getting, I hate to say it because Dana hears this going to go, hey, you shut your filthy mouth, but he's giving off, quote, AJ, Ben Askren vibes, where take him
Mm.
down, hold him down, ride him, that's it, and then rinse and repeat. And look, UFC, I'm guessing isn't too worried, but still, god damn it. No submission attempts, really, as you said, 8 significant strikes. Marcel, he basically just, if this was a heavyweight fight, you would be more pissed. You'd be going, oh my God, it's two fat guys just humping each other. That's what Raul Rojas did. So does he deserve more venom where it's like, God damn it, you're not a heavyweight. It's not like you gassed out. Why couldn't you throw more strikes, try submissions, do something rather than just hold on for dear life and hug him?
It was kind of safe fighting, you know. Can I really?
Yes,
Can I
you can.
really?
You're trying to be nice. I know, because you've probably gotten told by people like, hey, Marcel, you're kind of an a-hole. I'm telling you, be the a-hole. You can
Listen,
rip Raul Rojas and go, God damn it. You acted like a heavyweight. You were boring.
Yes, man. I mean, this guy is 21 years of age. He's in the top 15 of the UFC bantamweight division. When I was 21 years of age, I was jerking off 3 times a day. But I mean, you know what I mean. So, that's by the way, it's not. I didn't mean that serious. It's just for fun. But before people really think. But I mean, it's amazing what he has accomplished so far at his age, 21 years of age, top 15 in the UFC. That's big. It's just not really fun to watch. Definitely this fight, not, you know. And but I still think I have to respect the guy. Let's see how he does against somebody who gives him that challenge, who doesn't get easily taken to the ground, you know, in the division. Give him somebody who has good takedown defense, you know, match him up with that guy and let's see what he can do on the feet, you know, because these are the kind of guys, there's a specialist for taking you to the ground and holding you there, like Charles Oliveira did as well, you know. But how do these guys do when they have to strike with you, like we saw with Charles before? Charles can also strike, you know. But for Rosas, this was like pretty much the way of the least of the less this. Or did you say that? The way of the least resistance. You know what I mean? So yeah,
All right, so I'm throwing this out there.
yeah. Go
We're
ahead.
going to do Raul Rojas versus Peyton Talbot. Let's give him a younger guy, not somebody who could almost be his father. Let's give him somebody who also is, who has some decent wrestling here. I mean, that sounds like a decent little fight to make. I know it's
The To be fair, like I think most guys in the division could be his father, but yeah, why not? The thing is like you do two talented guys against each other. UFC doesn't really like that normally, but yeah, I would be good with it, because Peyton has good takedown defense, is pretty good overall. I wouldn't be against the fight at all. I would be surprised if the UFC books it, but I wouldn't be against it for sure.
Meanwhile, where does Rob Font go? Because on one hand, it's okay, he didn't take a lot of damage. He just got out wrestled. But as you said, this is now back-to-back losses. It's to two kids. He is a guy who's been around. I mean, is there a point where he should look and go, okay, do I really want to keep doing this, or there's easier ways for me to make money?
I mean, Rob is an older guy, right, in the division, so I mean, you cannot really blame him. It's like the performances won't get. I mean, for Rob Font, I think he's kind of like I don't want to say at the end of his career, but it's not like he's still developing. He has a certain level in the fighting, and I think he's still pretty good. But the heavy grapplers he will struggle against, and we all knew that before.
Well, speaking of good things on this card,
Yeah,
one of the best things of we'll get to the controversy about that. Drew Dober just one punch knockout over Michael Johnson. Well, this brought the crowd up. This got people like, oh, hey, we're getting some nipple play here. Maybe we might have some good times. Was is what is this? Does this say more about Drew Dober? Does this say more about Michael Johnson though?
a little bit of both, I would say. I mean, we know Drew Dober has the power to knock somebody out. But we also know that Michael Johnson is a good fighter, but he has some chin issues normally. And I wasn't surprised. It's like actually Michael Johnson looked really good early on in the fight, right? I think he looked really good, and I was like, he's technically better here than Drew is. But yeah, then Drew got that equalizer right, and he knocks him out. I wasn't surprised to see that. All credits to Drew, man. I think everybody likes Drew Dober. I haven't came across somebody who doesn't like Drew Dober. Um, yeah, great win for him. And for Michael Johnson is pretty much the guy in the UFC where I'm always been like he had the potential to be champion, but for some reason it didn't click.
Now, before the fight, there were, of course, we have prop bets going on. And the UFC, or one of the bets was Johnson and Dober, and that quickly got taken down and shut down. And this is
Yeah,
now sort of a second time we've seen this with a Johnson fight, where all of a sudden, there's that, BetGM, MGM said they won't be reposted. The reason is the extreme line movement in the last few hours.
yeah.
If you're the UFC, at what point are you going, okay, we need to investigate this? When it was just Hernandez versus Johnson, okay, maybe it's a one-off. When this is now the second time Johnson's been involved in one of these things, it's like,
Yeah, it's kind of weird, man. But at the same time, it's like, is it really? We don't know. I also don't want to say anything about it, to be really honest, because I'm not sure about what happens. Obviously, I also saw the line movement, and people made me aware of it. But it's difficult to say, like, yeah, he did this or he did that, and this should be happening. I have no idea, man. I got to be. I cannot just accuse somebody from doing something. I have no idea about it. And yeah.
I know we can't. No, I get it. It's unfair to him, but after seeing when it went on the NBA with basketball players getting caught up in the FBI for prop bets,
Hmm.
with an NBA coach getting caught up in a gambling ring with the mafia involving bets, like if you're ever UFC, is this something we should start going? Okay, we don't want to be on the 6 o'clock news or the international news where UFC fighters get investigated by the FBI. Details at 11. With Dana basically getting into a fight with Cash Patel, going, "My fighters are clean, damn it, my fighters are clean." So should they take more of this and go, okay, we need to maybe really investigate what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, maybe, but the thing is, like, where do you start? What are you gonna do? You don't know for sure. It's like it's almost like a needle in a haystack, I would say. And maybe it's much bigger. than I think it is, you know. But that's why I say we can discuss this, but I don't really have like clean facts or whatever. So it's really hard to discuss this kind of thing because I don't want to say anything that's not true. Um, is it like kind of in the news the last couple of times with the UFC? It is, you know, but man, as long as there's no clean proof, what can you do? Pretty much nothing, you know. But I'm sure they're working behind the scenes on it, you know, to keep it clean. Let's hope they do. I think they will. But yeah, what you want me to say? I don't know what to say, man.
You could say Marcel Dorff needs to be hired by the UFC to investigate fight camps. They'll show up at camps like, hey, this guy here, he's thinking of some shady people. Hey, this guy here was going to the Indian casinos. Hey, this guy here, he owes me 50 grand for three-card Monte, and I took his shirt. You should watch out for these people, Dana. Just put them on notice. That Patty Pimblett character, I saw making some bets with some fast ladies and slow ponies. You gotta kick him out and make sure my guy Armin gets a title shot. I'm just saying here.
Yeah, I hope Armin once gets a title shot, but probably when I am married, probably well, how do you say that in the US when pigs fly?
Yes, I know, but hey, there's always hope. So where does Drew Dober go? Does he deserve maybe a top 15 fight? Is he somebody that you look and go, hmm, Benil Dariush versus Drew Dober makes a lot of sense.
I mean, yeah, Darius just matched up right for Miami against Manuel Torres. So Dober lost to Manuel Torres. So maybe if Darius loses to Torres, they can make that fight. I wouldn't be against it. But
Or Rafael Fiziev versus Drew Dober, a fight which nobody will go backwards.
that would be a crazy fight. I'd like it. Yeah, why not? That would be a crazy banger, you know? I mean, Fiziev was always in bangers, so was Drew Dober. So yeah, actually a good matchup, Chris. You know, maybe you should call the UFC and ask Sean Shelby to step down.
Yeah, I don't think that'll go well. But one thing went very well. Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez just doesn't even get out of the first round, and he just slept them, as Joe Rogan would say, knocking out Bruno Ferreira in the rematch. Damn, Marcel, that was just violent. That was just a one overhand, one right overhand, just right on the jaw, and down goes Bruno. I mean, wow. Even you would to be impressed to go, okay, RoboCop might be, dare I say, a middleweight contender now.
Yeah, man, nasty knockout, you know, and really cool, obviously, for RoboCop, you know, since he lost that first fight to Ferreira a couple of years ago, got this revenge, looked really good. Yeah, knocked him out, you know. Listen, RoboCop, I really like the guy. I also like Ferreira, don't get me wrong, but I really like RoboCop. Wasn't a fan of his knockout against Hermanson, where I think he gave him an extra shot, which I never liked, but I think RoboCop is great, so I'm happy for the guy that he was able to avenge his loss, you know. And yeah, I mean, what's next for him? It's difficult. You know what would be nasty by the UFC if they make a fight Reinier de Ridder next, because Reinier is with Kill Cliff, RoboCop is with Kill Cliff, you know. But that would be a fun fight at the same time as well, you know. So yeah, we'll see what's next. But yeah, RoboCop did great. So all credits to RoboCop and also real fun fighter to watch as well. You know.
What's changed with him? I mean, because he talked about the Cannonier fight it made him grow up. You've seen his last three fights now, the Hermanson, Kopylov, Ferreira. What's different that seems to me putting him on like a different level now, where you're going, holy crap, he could beat anybody in this division.
I mean, maybe he needed that loss. You know, maybe he just needed that loss to evolve his game. You know, you never know. These fighters have some weird kind of stuff sometimes that they needed a certain loss to get to that higher level point. You know, and maybe that's for him the case. You know, yeah, that's maybe the case here. I don't know. I'm not in RoboCop's head, so I have no idea. But wouldn't it be fun for RoboCop if they put him on the White House card? Would have been like Obama back after all these years, you know?
You just love poking little bears with sticks, don't you? So in a perfect world, so who do you match him up with? Do you Give him Robert Whitaker. I mean, that's a big, sexy fight. Whitaker seems to not sure what he's doing ever since his loss to Reinier de Ridder. Or do you put him in with maybe, dare I say, I know it's a bit of a stretch, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez.
I literally wanted to say that not Robert Whitaker because he most likely goes to 205 next. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. That's the fight. Let's make it. It's a. I told you, Chris. Call Sean Shelby. You're going to be the matchmaker from now on. Actually, middleweight is McMahon, but I mean, I actually wanted to propose that one as well. So I'm fully in agreement. The Fluffy Hernandez fight makes sense. Let's roll it. You know.
Meanwhile, where does Bruno Ferreira go? This is a guy who we talked about, during our pre-show this or the preview. Like, at what point he was this highly touted prospect for the UFC, and there's always just something happened, whether it's just a bad loss here, a bad loss there, and the fact that he got knocked out just that violently, like, where does he go next?
I give him the loser of Christian Leroy Duncan against Roman Dolidze. That's who I give him next. Just outside the top 15. But I still give him a good opportunity, to show that he still has the level to compete with one of the top better guys in the division. But I give him that fight. I think it makes sense. The loser, not the winner. The winner fights somebody top 10 most likely, but the loser of Dolidze against Christian Leroy Duncan.
Well, yeah, this picture screams it all. So, okay. First off, the biggest loser of the night was Cody Garbrandt. Not just once, not twice, three times he got kicked in the nuts. In fact, the second time he was in such pain, he's throwing up basically in a bucket. He still went. They still basically had him go, fight the full fight. So, did Vegas screw up? Should this have been called basically after that first nut shot when he's throwing up? Because Adam Martin was going off how this was Vegas once again screwing the pooch, and this fight should have been called after he literally was ralphing in the bucket.
Yeah, I don't know the exact rules with that. I saw Adam saying that, but I can't agree. Cody was like puking as a motherfucker, and he got severely hurt. I was like, when I watched that, I was like, thank God he already has two kids. And to be really, if I'm really fair, I think Zhao Long should have still won the fight if it goes to the scorecard because I think he won all three rounds and he got 2 points deducted. But at the same time, he was playing that dirty because even when the fight was over, he was punching Cody after the buzzer, which Cody also got pissed about. So he actually deserved to lose, man, being an absolute asshole. But yeah, I don't know what the exact rule is here, so I cannot really say. But I was kind of in agreement with Adam. And I'm not always in agreement with Adam, but I was this time. They also could have called it and DQ the guy, who was blatantly bad, and he got a warning, and then he just did it again. I mean, that has nothing to do with a language barrier. You know what you can do in a fight and what you can do.
So I was going to say because critics will say he should have not been had taken 2 points away. That okay, first time you get warned, then maybe you get a second warning, then you get a point taken away. Herb Dean wasn't messing around. He's like, no, 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 no. I'm taking away a point, then another point, and then he's calling you a translator. I will disqualify you if you do this again. So, did we have to give Herb Dean an apology? Was he actually on point, or was this one of those rare occasions where even you're looking, going, yeah, Herb Dean still got it wrong?
I don't know. That's why I say I don't know the exact rules, so I cannot say if Herb Dean got it wrong or not. But the thing is, like, I'm glad that he was able to take the points, because I think definitely there should have been the points taken. And he took 2 points, so that's good. But I don't know, man. I don't know, to be really honest. Like I said, I don't know the exact rule here, so I cannot just say like, yeah, this is good or this is bad. I have no idea. But I'm actually glad that Cody won because I felt like Long Xiao was playing dirty.
So here's the thing we had to start talking about. Cody Garbrandt should have lost that fight. He didn't, because he didn't do anything in that third round, even after getting kicked in the nuts twice in the third round. He still, after they took away the second point, he's just circling, circling, circling. Herb Dean's watching, not giving a warning. Uh, Zhao is the only one throwing punches or kicks. Like, I get it, you feel bad he got kicked in the nuts twice, but still, like, do we need to have a conversation where the judges got this wrong? It was basically like, yeah, we're gonna screw this guy because of the nut shots.
Sorry, what was the question? The
Did the
last part?
judges screw, Long Zhao because of a nut shot? Should he have won this fight simply because Cody did nothing in that third round? Like, not even try to fight.
Yeah, the thing is like so. I think, like I said, I thought Long Zhao won all 3 rounds, and then he should have still won 28-27. So pretty much they did. I was surprised that Cody got the how do you say that? Got the nod, but I was surprised, but I wasn't unhappy about it. But yeah, the judges kind of screwed him for sure. Yeah, but he also screwed himself, to be really honest.
Where does Cody go from here? I mean, you hate to say he should retire because it's not our place, but he'll be going. He's 34, going on 35. This is his second win in his last. Actually, no. He is now 4 wins and 7 losses in his last 11 fights. I mean, this isn't going well, and you could argue that none of the guys he's won against are even in the UFC anymore. I mean, this is. I get it. He's one of Dana's guys, the Dana White privilege, but is it time for UFC to part ways with Cody Garbrandt?
Um, if you ask me, as a fan, maybe, because listen, to be really clear, if this fight goes 3 rounds without the how do you say that, falls, he
Double nut
loses the
shots or
fight.
repeated nut
Yeah,
shots? Yes.
he loses the fight. So, and Cody, who is still on top of his game, never loses to Long Zhao. You know what I mean? So yeah, I kind of feel that way. At the same time, who am I to say? And I was actually kind of surprised by who Cody said he wanted to fight next. He was hoping for David Martinez, I read. I was like, dude, that's not a good idea. Give him somebody unranked again. Listen, I don't think Cody hears this, but I really like Cody, but I don't think he's far from his prime. He's just not. I felt like, and it sucks to say, but he never returned to same Cody after those Dillashaw fights. And yeah, I mean, what can you say? Listen. When Cody came on onto the scene, he was really good. I really felt like he had Dana White privilege when he came up to the scene. Wasn't a big fan of Cody, but down the line, I really started to really appreciate Cody. I always thought that like he's a good fighter. A little bit heated sometimes, but hey, some people have that. But he's a really good fighter. But yeah, it's just like I don't want to say he's over the hill, but it kind of is that way. And I hate to say that because I think he still puts his heart completely into it, and he wants to be better than to show it to people. But I don't know if it's there anymore, and I think they need to see if it's still there. His team probably can say better than I do, but yeah, that's my thoughts about it. I don't know. How do you think about it actually?
I think they need to because I was thinking about this. Like, I'm watching the first 2 rounds against Long Zhao, Cody destroys this guy Kai in the first 2 rounds,
Mhm.
pre Dillashaw. Like he just mows him down probably within the first 2 minutes. And now he was struggling. Like
Yeah.
when he's getting hit with the same kind of knee and kick over and over again, like that's not a good sign. And look, Long Zhao is not. If Long Zhao was anything but Chinese, he probably isn't in the UFC. This is UFC going, hey, we need more Chinese fighters because we want to really conquer that Chinese market.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think if you're UFC, it might be time to sit Cody down and go, look, we might have a spot open up for you in the broadcast booth. You'd be great. Perfect. Hey, you on TV, you're a natural, but I mean, yeah, when he called out Dave Martinez, I'm thinking, oh God, this is gonna be ugly. This is
Yeah.
not gonna end well. Like, you might get finished within the first 2 rounds. This is
Yeah, it's a horrible call out, man. I was shocked that he called him out. I was like, dude, really not a good call out, you know. Definitely not a guy who is actually coming up now on the scene and looks really good, you know. And I understand Cody that he is like this guy is looks good. He has to hype a little bit with him, you know. Maybe I can steal that hype, but it's just not good right now, you know. It's not good right now, and yeah, let's see what's next. But yeah.
well, one of the few bright spots on the undercard, which also was drizzling craps. Alberto Montez,
Mhm.
second round submission, Darce choke over Ricky Turcios. Montez improves to 11-1. He's an older prospect, but he's still somebody. But all of a sudden, you start looking, going, okay, hey, UFC debut, taking on a guy who's a bit tough. Hey, it's pretty impressive here. Were you impressed, or did you look at this and go, okay, you got a guy who was sort of tailor made for you?
It's a good win, man. You know, Ricky is a really awkward guy to fight. You know, really difficult guy to fight. So I think Montez did really well there. I also respect Ricky a lot. He's one of the nicest guys in MMA. You know, he's really friendly all the time. You know, so but yeah, it's just it didn't click for him this fight. You know, and Montez looked really good. Um, yeah, great performance by him, and he pretty much finished him with a signature choke. So yeah, I mean, but almost cannot get a better UFC debut than this, you know.
So what do you do with Montez? Because he, as you said, he's 31, so it's not like he's a kid. He's in probably one of the most deepest divisions in the UFC in featherweight. I mean, do you give him somebody like maybe David Onama or even the winner of Aaron Pico versus Patricio Pitbull next? Do you give him a guy who's not the top 15? Like, from what you've seen from Montez, what should he get next?
Yeah, that's a little bit too early for me, man. I think he needs more. The 145 is a pretty big division, you know. It's a pretty stacked division, so you can match him up with pretty much anybody, man. I mean, I don't have a specific name for him right now, but I think you can match him up with pretty much everybody. He hasn't fought anyone in the UFC yet besides Ricky Turcios, right? So, and I don't think there's that much rush. If you have a little bit of rush, make him somebody with a fight with a little bit of a name, and let's see how he does. But yeah.
Meanwhile, the rest of the undercard, the less said, the better. Dante Johnson defeated Cody Brundage by split decision in a fight that, well, it was pretty ugly and bad. We had Sumo Dejer defeating Jesus Aguilar by unanimous decision, another fight which was sort of kind of uneventful.
Hmm.
We had a bit spirited, but still a bit of a misleader. The Art of Knockout, Naim Jargal, Tumen Barrel defeated uh, Cody Durden by unanimous decision. And finally, Rodolfo Bellato defeated Luke Fernandez left hook in the first round, 242 to improve to 13-3-1 overall. As you said, why for those who did not watch, and oh by the way, there was also we could not see some of the main event for a bit unless you went on to the Spanish language of the UFC because Paramount Plus had issues. For those who did not watch this card, why, in your opinion, were they lucky? Because, as you said, this card blowed goats.
The card was just not good, man. What else can I tell you? You know, the card overall, like the biggest the four finishes on the card were probably the most fun. And normally you have some fucking fun barn burners on the card. They're all dull. You know, a lot of these fights were just dull. Were not fun to watch. I gotta be honest, you know. And yeah, I bore myself out at a certain moment, you know. But we keep watching, no worries. But yeah, I expected a little bit more from this card, and I think a lot of people expected a little bit more from this card, you know?
Should there be like almost? I know that we had knockout clauses, but I'm gonna be a little more devious. Should there be like loser leaves the UFC for some of these prelim fights, where if you lose this fight and it's the the drizzling shits, we will cut you. Because Dana's been in a cutting mood. He's been firing people left and right. Even you noticed it. So is it time for him to start getting a chopping block and go, okay, look, this fight bored me to tears. You're both gone.
You know, I'll never advocate for somebody to lose his job, but yeah, let's just say some of these fights were really not good, man. I'm not going to say somebody has to lose his job. I'm not a dick, but yeah, some of these fights really were not good, and yeah, let's hope there will be better fights. You know, that's all we can say pretty much. You know, we only can hope, and where hope is, there is hope, or where yeah, I don't know how you say it in the English, but you know what I mean.
All right, so let's get to the UFC Freedom card. Because this felt like we were talking about, you and I were getting all excited. Ooh, we might get Pereira versus John Jones. We might get, dare I say, Paddy Pimblett versus Conor McGregor. We might get this, we might get that. And then they rolled out the card, and most people went, oh, this is kind of a letdown here. How much is this our fault, the fans and the media? Because we were talking, oh, it's got to be all these super fights. It's got to be this kind of super fight and that kind of super fight. I mean, is this our fault because we expected UFC Freedom 250 to be like the greatest card of all time, and then all of a sudden it became a very good card, and we're like, oh, I was expecting a pony for my birthday, and instead all I got was a toy car. This kind of sucks.
Do you want me to be honest with you?
Yes.
I really like the card. That's
I know
probably
you
I
like the
told you.
card because you are a traditionalist, but for people who are upset, is that their fault that they were expecting almost like unrealistic expectations?
Of course, man. People are like, yeah, but Donald Trump said there will be 7 title fights on this card. No, guys, listen. Dana already said there will likely be 7 fights on the card. Yeah, 6, 7, I know, but 6 or 7 fights on the card, you know? It obviously not going to be all title fights, but Dana probably said to Donald Trump, like, we're going to make an amazing card, 6, 7 fights with title fights on it, you know? And Trump probably thought like he meant 6 or 7 title fights, you know? So I think there comes the thing from like that people thought that it would be something out of this world. I think it's a great card, dude. You know, if you let's talk about all the fights here quickly. Topuria Gaethje. I mean, do I want to see Gaethje against Topuria? I'd rather see Armand, but the UFC made this themselves with making Gaethje Pimblett. They were hoping Pimblett was going to win, so they could make Topuria Pimblett. Not happening as Gaethje. I'm good with that, you know? You go to the second fight. Alex Pereira can win a third belt in a third weight class, you know? I know it's interim, still a big thing, you know? He's fighting Ghana. It's a fun fight, you know? O'Malley Zahabi, I would have preferred O'Malley against Sandhagen, you know. But O'Malley Zahabi, I have no problem with. Zahabi deserves a step up in competition. O'Malley needs another win, in my opinion, to fight for a title again. It's a good fight. Then the worst fight, in my opinion, Rufi against Chandler. I think Chandler is going to get absolutely decapitated by Rufi if he stands up with him. And Chandler, knowing Chandler, his game plan goes out of the window in the first minute, so he probably keeps it standing and banging. But if he uses his grappling, he can beat Rufi. Then we got Nickel against Dawkins. Everybody's like, oh, Bo Nickel's getting a free bone again, throwing at him. Dawkins not an easy not an easy fighter to fight right now. You know, Dawkins is on a good streak, looked great since his return to the UFC. So I like the fight a lot. And the opener of the card is actually the biggest barn burner on the card, in my opinion, with Diego Lopez, never in a boring fight, against Steve Garcia, almost knocking everybody out in the division who's fighting now, getting a massive opportunity here. So, in my opinion, this is a fucking fun card, you know. So I'm actually kind of surprised that people are ripping on that card. You know, I mean, what did you want? Did you want to have Conor on the card, where you don't know until one day before the fight if he's really going to fight? Do you want to have John on the card, you know, where you also don't know for sure if he's going to fight when you put him on the card? So I think it makes a lot of sense, you know. And yeah, I mean, I like the card. I'm looking forward to this event. It's going to be a spectacle for sure. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to this event. You know, and the thing is like people really ripping on the event because of the politics. Listen, I couldn't care less. You know, I'm not like a big Donald fan. I'm also not a big anti-Donald guy or whatever. I just think it's a fun thing, you know, and people don't understand like the connection with the UFC and Donald Trump for years. You know, when the UFC was basically that, he let Dana organize in the Trump Taj Mahal for free the fights. You know, so it's fun that Dana can pretty much do something back for Trump on his birthday. So I really like the fight. Looking forward to it, man. I don't know what your thoughts are about it. I think I talked long enough about it, but what are your thoughts?
I think the fans had unrealistic expectations, and look, I
Yeah.
get it. We got fed in like John Jones saying, "Hey, I'm going to negotiate for you for UFC White House card." And then we hear from Dana like, "That was never, that was 1,000% false. John
Yeah.
was never a consideration. He has arthritis in both hips. He might need, double hip replacement surgery. He's
Yeah.
retired. Yeah, we never were considering him. Like, even I could feel you from afar going." No, my goat lied to me. How dare you, John? You got my hopes up for a spark, and then you lied, you dirty, thieving liar.
But not even, man. Like I said, I really don't have the feeling that we need Connor or John on this card, man. I think it's a really fun card. I'm really surprised about the backlash online. And before people are saying, listening to this, like, yeah, you obviously get paid by the UFC. No, I don't get paid by the UFC, but. That's just my honest opinion. If I thought the card sucked, I would have said the card fucking sucks. But I don't think it sucks. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's fun. I think it's a fun card. Um, and let's hope the card pans out to be a fun card. I mean, this is probably a once in a lifetime kind of thing that we're going to see. Yeah, let's go.
You can't lie to me. I understand you're disappointed because you have this all planned
I'm
out.
not. I'm
I
not
know
at
that
all.
you secretly are in talks to be covering the UFC White House card. You'll sit next to Robert Kennedy Jr., you two, the health nuts, doing push-ups and talking about make the world healthy again. You've been meeting John Jones, your goat, having maybe a couple of glasses of champagne afterwards and going, "Hey, I missed you, John." He would go, "Hey, Marcel, I'm sorry I let you down. I understand. This is all part of the plan." And now you're upset. And now deep down, you're like, "God damn it, John Jones. He lied to me. That dirty, thieving liar. Got my hopes up."
Man, I'm way too laid back to be bothered by it, man. To be honest, like I said, I like the card, and that's it. I really don't dislike the card. If I disliked it, I would have told you. You know me. I'm always honest. But I like the card, man. That's all I can say. I wish I could make it a little bit more. How do you say it? A little bit more edgy, but I can't. I can't. I have to stay true to myself.
Well, speaking of edgy, and let's talk about UFC Fight Night this coming March 14th.
Yeah.
Main event: Kevin Vallejos versus Josh Emmett. Is this the final sort of a last stand for Josh Emmett, for a guy who always was, in a fight which you could say was action packed almost every fight he's in? And look, I will never say a bad thing about Josh Emmett. He
Hmm.
is, one of the nicest people in and out of the cage. He is a guy who never makes any, excuses. Could this be the final time we see him in the octagon, though, against Vallejos? In a fight where you're looking, going, all right, four out of the last five fights you've lost, and he's just been in a lot of wars. He's been through a lot of injuries. This is a guy who probably is getting held up with, spit duct tape and Jack Daniels, less of a spit heavy on the Jack and a little bit on the duct tape.
It's possible, because like you said, Josh is getting older. At the same time, Fashekos is a pretty good prospect, I think. You saw him last time against Giga, but he struggled against Giga as well. And I know he finished him at a certain moment, but he was struggling against Giga before he finished him. But yeah, Fashekos is a really interesting guy to see fight. Um, Listen, if Emmett still wants to make a run in the division, it's pretty clear he needs to win, but it's going to be a very tough task, I think. This Vassegos guy, Argentinian, only lost so far against Jean Silva in the Contender Series fight, one of the best Contender Series fight of all time, in my opinion. Um, yeah, it's a big opportunity for him, against a guy who is like an established guy. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good fight. We know Josh Emmett is also barely in any boring fight. So, yeah, let's see what's going to happen, man. I think there's going to be might be fireworks.
Co-main event: Amanda Lemos versus the Savage herself, Jillian Robertson. You look at Robertson, and quietly it's been a four-fight win streak, including six out of her last seven fights she's won. Is she somebody that we should start looking at going, all right, hey, maybe she deserves a title eliminator if she wins this fight against Amanda Lemos?
If she wins here for sure, but she has to win first. The thing is like she has an advantage over Amanda Lemos on the ground, but Amanda has probably an advantage on the feet over her. So for Jillian, it might be very smart to get this fight to the ground as soon as possible, and try to finish Lemos. If that doesn't happen, I favor Lemos on the feet. But that's why it's an interesting fight, man. I mean, it can go either way, like pretty much every fight, of course. But yeah, I mean, she she needs to Robertson, if she wants to make a run in this division, she needs to win here. And she might get Lemos at the right time. Lemos is not getting any younger. So yeah, it's interesting. Let's see what if Robertson can beat her. It would be a big win if she can.
In a fight between two guys who you will not have to have scorecards. One of them is going to knock out the other. We got Umar Sy versus Ion Vahal Kutaleba in a 205 fight. This just screams to me that like the first round, it's either going to be violent knockout or afterwards it's going to be a sloppy third round knockout.
I mean, I hope so, man. I mean, Cutelaba is hit or miss, right? Sometimes she looks really good. Then the time after, you are well, like, what the hell is he doing? And with Umar C is like also really hard to think about because he's like he had a great finish. I remember last time, but sometimes he also really like is kind of underwhelming in his fighting. So let's hope it's a barn burner, like you say, man. But yeah, we need to see if it happens. You never know with these guys. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes they really look good, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is not great. And let's hope it's a good fight because we have seen enough horrible fights last night.
Marwan Rahiki takes on Harry Hardwick in a featherweight scrap. There's a lot of people I know down in the Oceania area who say that Freaky here is the next sort of rising star from Australia. You've seen some clips. You've done your scouting report. Is this going to be a good test for him, or is this sort of a Dana White privilege kind of fight where hey, we're going to give you somebody who you should be able to steamroll over?
Oh, this is for sure a good test for him. I mean, Rahiki has impressed me on the Contender Series. He fought the African dude, and he got knocked down, I think, twice, but he came back in the fight, so he showed he can overcome adversity. And I think he looked really good, man, in that fight, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to his fight. I think it will be fun to watch, and yeah.
We have a heavyweight fight, which yes, I know that you were like, God damn, we might be getting rid of all the heavyweights, but no, there's one on the card. We got Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund in a fight between two guys who are trying to figure out where they stand in the UFC heavyweight division. So far, has either of these guys shown you that they're a legit heavyweight, or are you looking at both like, okay, show me something bigger? I mean, from Appeland, it's like, all right, the Sean Sharaf knockout was nice, but let's see how you do against Vitor Petrino. And Petrino, I'm guessing you're looking at going, all right, hey, you look the part, you're in shape, but you know, Thomas Peterson, Austin Lane are great, but losing to Anthony Smith and Dustin Jacoby, that might be a little bit of a challenge here.
Really have to watch out what I say here because Asplund is one of the favorite fighters of Adam. Um,
Don't
the
worry, I
thing.
won't tell. And if he does, just say, "Hey, look, that Chris Connor there, he instigated it. He kept poking the bear with a stick."
I know you will tell him, but no, I'm just kidding. He knows what I think about this fight. The thing is, like with this fight, Petrino is super explosive early in the first round, but he's a cardio issues. And the funny thing is, like Asplund looks like a guy who gasses, but he actually has a better cardio, which is fun. Um, I think if Asplund can get past the first 5 minutes, I think he beats Petrino and most likely finishes him in the later rounds. So I think Asplund wins here. I know I think he's an underdog in this fight, but I think Asplund wins. Yeah.
Jose Delgado, well, after losing to Nathan Wood in a fight where he was way overweight. He now takes on Andre Fili here. Are you surprised this fight's on the main card? Like this screams more like prelim, but yet it's on the main card. So what should we expect? And is Delgado's sort of job on the line here if he loses and looks bad?
No, absolutely not. Delgado is one of the future guys who's going to do very well in the division, man. I think Delgado got robbed against Wood, to be honest. I think he clearly won the fight, at least two of the three rounds. I actually scored a 30-27 for him. So he's getting Feely now. Feely is like the established guy. Um, has done well in the division, but I don't think he's gonna go places or anything. I honestly think Delgado finished him in the first round, man. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm really high on Jose Delgado. I think he's a really good fighter. And I'm actually happy that they put this fight on the main card because, like I said, Delgado is one of the guys I'm really high on, man. So, yeah, I hope he can do well. As I said, listen, Feely, great dude, a great career, in my opinion, UFC. Always showed up, always fought. But I think it's Delgado's time, man. Yeah, I really think that.
Probably the best fight of the night is on the prelim card. Once again, I know you're very unhappy because, as you said, these goddamn flyweights aren't getting enough respect. Bruno Silva takes on Charles Johnson. This screams two guys who are sort of just very evenly matched. Is this, in your opinion, the most evenly matched fight of a card?
I don't know if it's the most evenly matched, but it's definitely evenly matched. I agree with that. I think it's a very competitive fight. I like the fight a lot. Uh, Bruno Silva, it's kind of hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes he looks really good and then he really disappoints. And with Charles Johnson, it's mostly the same, but his striking is just really good and really fun to watch. So, yeah, it's a good fight, man. Could have been on the main card, I think, for sure. Um, I think Charles Johnson is too crisp for the striking, probably, but I cannot count out Bruno Silva because he's super tough, and yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. But I would pick Charles Johnson in this fight, but Bruno Silva can do work. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. He's really good as well. He's kind of underrated, just like Charles Johnson is kind of underrated as well. So I can't agree with you. That's going to be a fun fight.
Which Charles Johnson shows up, I guess, is the big question. I mean, as
That's
again,
the
we've
question.
seen like knockout wins over Joshua Van, Loner Kavanaugh, and you go, "Ooh, this guy should be a world champion." And then he gets to lose to guys like Cody Durden and Ramzan Tamirov, and you're like, "Yep, all right, that's what happened here." So again, do we see the guy who showed up in the Kavanaugh fight, or the guy who showed up in the Durden fight?
Yeah, if I knew that, I would make a lot of money. I have no idea, man. Let's hope the best Charles Johnson shows up, and let's also hope the best Bruno Silva shows up, and then we can see who is the best. So we'll see, man. At least it's a good fight. I like the fight a lot. But we'll see. We'll see.
Chris Curtis takes on Miktaibek or Rabali in a welterweight scraps. Curtis is a guy, when we first saw him, we thought, okay, hey, this guy is just a ball of fire. He was, on a big, nice little win streak, three straight wins. And then it seems the last couple of fights, it's been just either split decision, games decision loss, decision win, decision loss. Is this sort of sort of a lay? I don't want to say a layup, but is this sort of, and this is a nice sort of name for Obali, who the UFC seems to have pretty nice little opinion of.
I mean, All is a fun fighter to watch, right? So is Chris Curtis. So it's an interesting fight. If you look at Chris Curtis, um, I think he can do pretty well. Chris Curtis is a pretty good fighter overall, and I think it will be a close fight. I think Orobai will win. That's what I think because I think he just can get more damage probably. But I think it goes to a decision, man. But I think Orobai wins, and I think it's going to be a fun fight to watch for the whole crowd who is there in the apex. But it's a good fight and should have been higher on the card.
Brad Tavares takes on Eric Anders, and I believe it's his Eric Anders' final fight in his contract.
Yeah.
Two guys who they've been around. They've fought some of the best in their division here. What should we expect, and who do you like out two guys who can run hot and cold?
Yeah, I don't think we have to expect a lot, to be really honest. No disrespect to either guy, but I think they're both really past their prime. I really like both guys, by the way. I think Anders has the. I would have said Tavares might have the edge, but I'm going with Anders in this one. I think Anders wants to shoot, wants to go out in a good way. And Tavares really disappointed me against Robert Bicek last time he fought. I thought he looked really bad in that fight. So yeah, pretty much that. This is one of the fights. No disrespect, but not really looking forward to it because I don't think it will be anything really fun to watch. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe let them surprise me. You know what I mean?
In women's bantamweight action, we got is Bia the Lady Goat Mesquita taking on Francis Montserrat Rendon. We keep wondering who's going to sort of emerge from women's bantamweight. Until Bella Mir comes to women's MMA and UFC, we're going, okay, is anybody going to, grab the bull by the horns? Is Mesquita that person? I mean, she's with America Top Team, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, black belt. She a little bit an older prospect, but still somebody who right now is just her debut gets the rear naked choke over Arena Alaskiva. Are we going to find out more against Rendon? I mean, is this sort of a fight where both women can sort of prove that they might be ready for a top 10 fight because women's bantamweight is so barren?
I think Mosquito rolls in this fight, man. Um, I don't see Randon doing pretty well in this fight, to be honest. I think Mosquito rolls in this fight, and yeah, I think she wins this fight. So I have pretty much nothing else to say. I think, and I want to see Mosquito against better opposition after this fight. I think she takes her to the ground and probably submits her. I know Randon got that win last time over Elise Pereira, but Elise Pereira is not UFC ready, in my opinion. So yeah, Mosquito. I'm really high on Mosquito here. I think she wins.
Another guy for UFC is high on that is uh, Elijah Swift Smith. He'll be back in action this time again, taking on Su Young Yu. Uh, it's a nice bit of a step up, but it still feels like the UFC has big plans for Smith. This is a guy that they're looking at going, all right, he's going to be the future at 23 years old.
Kind of low on the card, in my opinion. After that devastating knockout win over Toshomi Kazama last time. Um, yeah, it's an interesting fight, man. I think Su Young Yu will try to get the fight to the ground as soon as possible. Smith will try to keep it standing, although he's pretty decent on the ground as well, but he will try to keep it standing, I think. Um, I expect, to be honest, a close fight. I think Smith will eventually win the fight, but yeah, it's like U.S. is pretty good on the ground overall. It's like Jitsu, but yeah, I think Smith will be able to win the fight, to be honest. But um, yeah, it's a difficult fight to pick because I think both guys have a clear win path here. And listen, if Su Young Yu is able to get his game plan rolling with takedowns and keeping him on the ground, he might can win as well. But I would always pick Elijah Smith here because I think he's pretty all around and he got the skill with the stand up.
Manuel Sosa makes his UFC debut as he'll be taking on the very tough Zulu warrior Balaji Oki. I'm very interested to see what Sosa brings because you look at his record and his only loss is against a guy who may say is one of the best fighters not the UFC, Archie Colgan. Outside of that, devastating not third round knockout against Tristan Perez in the UFC Contender Series. Is this a fight where the UFC sort of wants to give maybe really debut Sosa with a nice big knockout?
Yeah, they maybe want to, but they might be in for a rude awakening, because Oki's hands are pretty good, and he got the knockout power as well. I think Manuel might have probably the advantage on the ground in this fight, but in the striking, I'm surprised the line is so big. I think he's minus 300, Sosa. I think for me, it's more like a pick 'em, but yeah. it's more. I'm surprised that the line is so high, man. I really am.
Luan Lacerda takes on Hector Sosa in the bantamweight scrap. Sosa, another guy, another hotshot prospect from Spain. A little bit, once again, another guy who's older, 30 years old, but you look and, coming fresh off of a unanimous decision victory over Max and Lee. How do you like this fight? And is is Sosa, the Guanche Warrior, the real deal?
I don't know. We have to see, man. It's still, it's only his first fight in the UFC. He looked good on Contender Series, but we have to see. I'm picking him to win because I think he has more upside to win than Luan Lacerda. Lacerda's pretty decent. Got recently his first win in the UFC against Marcel Oliveira, but Hasher Sosa, I've been I knowing him for some time. He's pretty big in Spain. And let's see how he does in the UFC, man. His Contender Series fight was hopeful.
Break down the rest of the card for us here because we have the last fight, of course, is a once again, flyweight scrap. Piera Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. What should we expect from Rodriguez? This is somebody who, we know what Sam Hughes is. She's maybe a fringe UFC fighter. La Fiera, once again, another older prospect, 33 years old, though. She's beaten, coming fresh off of a win against Ketlin Souza. Is this something where she might have turned around the corner? But after, her two losses to Ariane Kondalisi by disqualification, that was pretty bad. Getting submitted by Jillian Robertson, also kind of bad. But this rematch sort of all of a sudden starts going, having her look and go, all right, wait, maybe she's turned the corner.
Yeah, it's like this is actually a fun fight as well. So we got a rematch, was super close the last time they fought. Um, but I'm telling you, man, the thing is like I think Piera will have some how do you say that? Some good early on things in the fight, but the longer the fight goes, I think Sam Hughes has the advantage. Sam Hughes already showed in a lot of fights that she can win against people they don't expect her to win against. She showed it against Jackie Amorim, for example. She showed it against Stephanie Rondinha Luciano. She can do it again. I expected her to win against Shauna Bennett, so that wasn't a surprise for me. But she can do it again, pretty much. She fought her already. She knows how to fight her, probably. Listen, Pierre can also have obviously been getting better, and so maybe Pierre will beat her. But man, I would go Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is an underdog again, and she always like my co-host would say, Adam, she fights for your money. You know what I mean? So if you pick Hughes and put some money on her, she always fights for your money. She's like pretty much you can. I would almost compare her to Davy Grant, and then not skill wise, but like this fighting spirit. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like Sam Hughes in this fight, but Pierre can win as well. It's not a clear cut fight that I say this girl's going to win or this girl's going to win.
So overall, this card here coming up March 14th, once again, Emmett versus Vallejo's the main event. Is it worth the watch? Is it one of those you check at the highlights? Like when you're looking at this card and breaking everything down, how much are you excited and how much are you sort of dreading this card?
So yeah, Adam asked me also what I give this card for a number. I would say a 7 out of 10 on paper. I think it's a pretty good card for an Apex card. There are some good fighters on it. Some fun prospects are on this card. I think it can be a pretty good card, man. I'm looking forward to it. Definitely after last Saturday when the card was kind of shit, to be honest. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a pretty good card. Let's see how it goes.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we always love him on the show when he pulls no punches, takes no dives, and he has no problem admitting when something is, as he says, shitty, and he'll call it. I give you once again from Eurosport UFC, Tapology, and MMA Oddsbreaker podcast. I give you Marcel Dorff. So, Marcel, once again, where can fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter, the Instagram, the website, the YouTube channel, the Rumble? Where can fans hit you up at?
Big Marcel 24 on Twitter, Instagram, mixed martial arts section on the Eurosport website. I have a podcast, as you guys know, with Adam Martin on the MMA OB Daily Podcast on the MMA Oddsbreaker channel. the live it's the live things because it's not in the videos but just in the lives you can check them out. And yeah, Chris, thanks for having me as always, man. Always fun talking to you. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, man.
Yes, we'll do it same time, same place next week. But once again, Marcel Dorff, ladies and gentlemen, always honor, pleasure. Have you on the show. We come back. We got a lot more going on here, only on it's Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on the Last Call Podcast.com.